Welcome everybody to today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. As you know, the mission of 1 million by 1 million is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue and beyond, and build $1 trillion in global GDP and 10 million jobs. We hope to do that by 2020, and today we are delighted to do this event with IIT Kharagpur in celebration as part of their Global Entrepreneurship Summit organized by the Entrepreneurship Cell at KGP. It's been 3 years since I've physically been to Kharagpur, but I have very good memories of working with entrepreneurs and visiting you in Kharagpur in January 2008. So actually, no, it's been 4 years, not 3 years. 2009, I think. Can't remember whether 2008 or 9, but it's been a few years. I will be in Calcutta soon, so if you want to hang out with me, you're most welcome to come see me in Calcutta. But meanwhile, today we are going to work virtually with 5 entrepreneurs, all from IIT Kharagpur, and we are going to work with each of them on their businesses. We're going to listen to their, I'm going to listen to the pitch, all the audience is going to listen to their pitch. By the way, there's a whole bunch of people in the conference room at IIT Kharagpur, plus there are all sorts of people from different parts of the world who also are joining in virtually to the WebEx meeting room. So, and the recording of the session is going to be available after the show. You're very welcome to share the recording with other people that you want to show this to. If you are tweeting, by the way, please use the hashtag 1M1M, and Anandita, if you have a hashtag for the summit, please put that in the public chat so people can use that hashtag as well. And Maureen will be tweeting from the @1M by 1M account. So if you want to watch the tweet stream, you can follow that along. And you can also follow my Twitter account, which is @Sramana. All right, so the first presenter today is going to be Piyush Bagaria. Piyush, if you could come to the forum and tell us what you're doing with MobHub.
Hello, ma'am. Can you see me?
Yep, I can see you. I can hear you. Everybody, I think, can see you, hear you.
Okay. So I'm Piyush Bagaria, co-founder and CEO of MobHub company. This is a company which we started around 6 months back. And fundamentally, I'm a junior year undergraduate student at IIT Kharagpur at the moment. Let me first describe you the work that I do and what our customer base is and how we exactly plan to work with our work. You can move to the next slide, please. So basically what we plan to do is a learning management system and a collaborative learning environment for colleges inside India and around the world. So what we basically want to do is we want to club the classical features of e-learning with some of the special tools and stuff that we have designed. Besides the regular classical e-learning features, which most of the websites right now, there are a lot of websites in the e-learning sphere which offer some of the classical features like online meetings, course sharing, and similar stuff. But what we want to do is something different and something beyond this. So the first of the differentiating features that we have developed is a simulation tool. This is a tool which is developed on the hub cyber infrastructure, and what it basically does is that when a particular professor or someone writes a computer program, suppose the idea originated when I was as a visiting research scholar at Purdue University last year. So basically the program that is written, it cannot be uploaded by the professors online because of privacy and code protection issues and similar issues. So what we basically plan to do is give an interface through which professors and other people can host their programs online through means of a GUI tool that we designed. So basically the computer program would be translated into GUI tool in a very short period of time. And what this will basically do is that those GUIs can be used by people across India and other parts of the world.
Yes, I have a question for you. The kind of infrastructure you've created in this visualization tool, what types of subjects are they good for teaching?
The primary focus would be on engineering and science, but I guess it can be extended to other similar tools like medicine and biotechnology and other issues.
Okay.
But I guess the primary focus would be on engineering.
Sciences and technology, engineering and sciences.
Yeah, true.
Okay.
Moreover, we plan to offer a virtual laboratory support. It's like a lot of instruments are there in different universities, which can be connected over a network to be used. But unfortunately, like a lot of colleges in India do not have sophisticated experimental equipments. So what we basically plan to do is design a tool through which these universities and students here can use those equipments in other parts of the world through means of a GUI. So I guess not a lot of
do that. That also is predicated upon the fact that the interactions with those equipments are digital interactions. If it's, for instance, a chemistry lab, that's not where it would work.
Right. Yeah, the application of this tool is fairly limited, but it has some applications, at least in engineering. Besides this, we plan to have a citation management system. Basically, we want to create a collaborative learning environment where people can see what is happening in different parts of the world, what people are doing all together. So we want to have a citation management system which can collaborate. People can know what publications other people are doing and stuff. Moreover, there was one other feature that we had, which was of webinars and podcasts. This feature that we developed was out of the customer validation process, which I'll talk to you in a minute.
Okay.
So the basic target customer that we are targeting at this moment is the higher education segment in India and beyond. So we want to basically target the blended learning system as well as the distance learning system. What we basically do is that we offer the classical systems incorporated with some of the unique features and tools that we have developed. So in doing this, we also have a search optimization system. Basically what it does is that whenever a particular professor shares a particular courseware or something, whatever he wants in form of PDF tool or stuff, so we have an algorithm, a statistical algorithm by means of which we convert it into a summary and a note, a visualization note which will help students to learn better. Starting with our customer validation process, we tried to reach colleges in West Bengal, and we also communicated with some of the faculty in the United States who were willing to share their work with us. Based on the feedback that we got, we decided to add a particular webinar feature with our work. What this feature basically does is, suppose there's a particular webinar, like a lot of companies like IBM, Oracle and Microsoft have their webinars hosted, through which the basic aim is to build capacity and to teach people about their work. But unfortunately, they are not being able to reach a large number of students. So what we do is we plan to advertise and offer the webinar support through our interface and basically make these companies available to our target customers.
You have to be a bit careful getting into the webinar market. It's an extremely crowded market. Even in the low end of the market, it's an extremely crowded market. You look at Citrix's GoToMeeting technology, for instance. It's a very cheap tool, and so it's a very good webinar tool, and not very difficult for people to use those things. So I wouldn't hang your hat on the whole webinar technology. But let's keep going. What price point do you plan to offer this platform to, and what is your assumption about the usage model? Is it faculty that are going to be buying? Who's going to be buying the software?
Basically, after surveying different places and stuff, we came up with the fact that we should primarily target universities and research labs at the moment, which would use our services and they'll distribute it back to their students. So the faculties might host their tools, but the ultimate users would be students, undergraduate students.
Who is going to be buying? Whom do you need to convince to use this tool, and whose budget is this going to come out of?
Basically, the budget would be the one consisting of the universities. We'll approach the universities directly, which would buy the services from us.
No, but the university is not a person, right? University is an organization. Where in the university do you need to sell this? Is it to the faculty, and then so I think this is getting to some of the complexities of sales cycle which you need to learn, because what you're talking about is a complex enterprise sale to the university system, and you need to understand how to sell to that university system, and that needs to be part of your business building strategy.
Okay. Actually, I have a question after the slide, I want to ask you a question about what we need to do.
Okay. Go ahead. Why don't you go with the questions, because we have 4 other people to work with. So let's
just have a minute, please. I'm back. Yeah. Okay now. Yeah. So basically, the question that I wanted to ask you is about the work. I mean, we tried to identify whom do we directly need to contact. Do we directly need to go to students or faculty, or do we need to go to research labs in universities and try to analyze what are the cost considerations and what exactly are the problems that are associated with our work. So I have listed a few problems that we identified in trying to communicate with the people. And based on these problems and stuff, I mean, the ultimate benefit that the ultimate strategy that we could have developed is like reaching to universities directly. This is what we could develop in terms of what we exactly want to do. Because the problem is that.
Go ahead.
The problem is that if we directly target students and people at this moment, the university branding will not be there. So it will not be a part of the regular curriculum, and so the people will spend less time on our website. So this is why we want to go through an official approach where universities will directly access, purchase our services, and through means of our services, they'll host their tools online and stuff.
Right. I think that's a correct observation. The fact that you cannot do this as a B2C business at the moment is a correct observation. B2B business is the right way to do it, but you need to understand the dynamics of a complex sales cycle and figure out where do you penetrate. Because these kinds of decisions actually, if it's made by college administration, it has to be high enough in the college administration process to be able to drive adoption through the faculty and the students. And unless that is there, so this becomes a fairly large-scale enterprise software deal. And that is not going to be so easy to put in place. And especially in places like West Bengal, where you have generally a late adopter psychographic of customers, that is not the right place to bring the technology to market.
Right.
So you're going to have to find the segments to penetrate within the higher education system. You're going to need to find the right segment to penetrate, which would probably be somewhere other than West Bengal for sure. It may be in India, it may not be in India, but it will certainly not be in West Bengal.
Okay. Actually, we tried to reach to a couple of colleges, and we got a constructive feedback from 2 colleges at the moment in West Bengal.
In West Bengal?
Yeah, in Calcutta.
And they are willing to adopt the technology?
Yeah, in parts. They're not willing to adopt the whole stuff, but they are willing to adopt. They were very enthusiastic about the laboratory tools and the simulation tools that we have developed.
And are they willing to pay for it?
Yes, we have actually tried to keep the service price pretty low at the moment, but we'll scale up as it goes along.
To me, that's a surprise, but it's a pleasant surprise. Okay.
And the last question is about our selection in Kairos 50. Actually, we got selected in Kairos 50, and in a couple of weeks, we'll be traveling to US to present our idea at NYSE and at Forbes. So where we'll be meeting investors, business leaders, and press. So basically, what I wanted to ask you is, like, how do we communicate properly with the press? Because the primarily business model depends on how we put the word across in American academia and get the message across, so that we can have enough professors and faculty there willing to share their work and their equipments.
So to be perfectly honest with you, you're not yet ready for that kind of press outreach. Right now, what you need to do is identify a handful of early adopter customers who are going to help you validate the technology, who are going to be willing to work with your early, alpha, beta technology and start using it. Did you lose voice or something? I think they lost the call. Folks, bear with the Kharagpur team for a moment. Let them get back on the call. And in the meantime, please feel free to use the public chat, folks. Those of you who are in the room, share your thoughts about what you're hearing. Rudy Godoy says he's from Peru, running a services business for 4 years in the process of moving to a product company. That's great. Rudy, please do not give up your services business, because that's a conventional, incorrect wisdom that's floating out there that you need to get rid of your services business to do a product company. Please don't do that. Generally, we like it if you have a services business which can be used from a bootstrapping perspective to bootstrap a product company, and we have extensive resources to support that particular model of company building in the 1 million by 1 million methodology. Most certainly should be able to use that. IIT Kharagpur, are you back? Can you hear me? All right. So what I was saying about your Kairos presentation in New York is that you are not at a stage where you can meaningfully convey a lot to the press. This is a stage where the best thing for you is to work with a dozen customers who are who are enthusiastic about your technology, excited about your technology, and are willing to work with you as alpha customers, beta customers. So you can talk a little bit about your vision of what you're trying to do, but beyond that, this is not the time to reach out to the press. Okay? All right. So I think we're going to give a round of applause. Those of you in the room, give a round of applause to Mob Hub and their vision, and let's wish them a good luck for Kairos 50 presentations in New York. And we move on to Shubhankit Mohan. If you could switch seats and put.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
You're very welcome. Next company is Optimum Mobility Services, Shubhankit Mohan and Lakshman Pasala. Are you ready?
Just a minute.
Ready?
Okay, good evening, ma'am. I'm Lakshman Pasla. I'm sorry, but Shubhankit couldn't make it because he's feeling sick.
Okay, you can listen to the recording.
Yeah, I mean, no fault of his because the erratic climate of Kharagpur is unpredictable. So I'll be giving the presentation.
Okay.
So we are Optimum Mobility Services, and we would be providing web-based routing optimization service to the small and the medium scale logistics and the transportation industries. And we have developed using EXTJS GUI and 6 to 7 algorithms based on the Indian consumers. And it's not a software, it's an online service.
Okay.
So here the user, say a cab agency, of having a fleet of say 100 cabs,
okay,
will log into our website and log into his account, where he'll log into his own GUI, and he will be able to manage his entire fleet, which is integrated with the Google Maps, and he will be able to schedule and totally plan all his operations based on our web application.
And what is your assumption on what is with the cab drivers on the fleet?
Yes, so this is possible only with the agencies having GPS enabled in their vehicles.
And how common is that in India today?
actually a lot of small and medium scale agencies have their fleet enabled with the GPS. Say in Kolkata itself, there are around 30 small, medium scale agencies, cab agencies. I'm not talking about the logistics or the freight, only the transportation industry. In Calcutta itself, they have their vehicles enabled with GPS.
Okay.
So the industry is there and the industry is growing. And in our presentation,
how many of these 30 cab agencies have you had conversations with so far?
actually in India, we've had conversations with 5.
5 agencies.
Yes, and 2 of them have agreed to run our pilot project and give their data so that we can further develop our application.
That's great. That's excellent. So you have your very beginning beta customers or alpha customers, and
since they are our first customers, it's free for them.
Okay.
And this is a service. We would be charging on a monthly basis.
Yeah.
And it would be based on the number of vehicles of that particular fleet. So
yeah.
say a fleet, it's totally dependent on the number of vehicles. Say we'll be charging 1,000 rupees per vehicle per month.
Okay.
It's just an approximate.
Okay.
And if we talk about the cab agencies, then there are plenty of them, and apart from that, then there's the logistics. So like this, first our plan is to provide the web-based application, and then after having a substantial ground in the market, for the bigger players, we would be making their custom-made applications. It won't be a web-based application, it will be a software. And we would be selling it to them, or again we can do the licensing, etc.
I would say just stick with what you're right now, the stage where you are. Just stick with the web-based application, but let me get one more level of clarification. So you are looking for GPS-enabled vehicles. How are you picking up the data that the GPS is producing, and how are you feeding that data into your application?
The data with every SIM card is being stored into an XML file, and that XML file is being called by our application, and you can see the locations onto the map which is there in our web-based application.
Okay, so it's a GPS for the vehicle communicating with the cell phone, with the mobile phone, and then the mobile phone transmitting the data to your software, the central location. Okay, got it.
And here users can just drag and drop the locations. Say one particular vehicle has to go to 10 destinations. They have to just drag and drop the selection, drag and drop onto the map, and then click on one button. It will optimize the route, and that data can be exported to the GPS in the vehicle.
Okay.
Yes. Here our plan is to use the traffic data too, but the problem is in India the traffic data is not possible. It's not here. So it's still a long run. We are planning to use some heuristic algorithms and try to extrapolate the traffic data, but it's still very erratic. So the traffic data won't be utilized, but unlike other optimization services, we are not optimizing only the distance. We are rather optimizing the time. Because in India, there's no point in optimizing distance where we have speed limits, where we have buildings where there's a speed limit, say a school or a hospital. So the entire process is based on optimizing the time. And also, we are providing options for the user to either optimize the entire procedure to have the minimum time, or to have the minimum distance, or to have the minimum cost, or a combination of these 3.
But again, so, you're making certain assumptions of data being available, speed limit data. Is that available anywhere?
Speed limit data, actually, see, we have to map the entire city. So it will
And
be
foremost,
going.
in Indian cities, speed limit is kind of like a moot point because
Yes,
traffic
so
doesn't move.
see, in metros like Delhi, there are speed limits and people have to follow it. And even in Calcutta, Calcutta is a rather bizarre place, but in Delhi, people do follow the speed limit. But
No, but the question is, do you have that speed limit data available in some scalable format, or are you going to have to manually come up with all these speed limits?
we are trying to get the data, but as of now, we do not. That's why the entire process is just optimizing the time.
Yeah. So that's exactly what my conclusion listening to you is, that don't overpromise, because you will not be able to deliver on some of these vectors where the data is not available in a scalable format.
Yes, the
But
problem.
otherwise, I like what you're trying to do. I think there's probably questions about competition. Is there anybody doing it already?
Fortunately, no.
Good. Very good.
Yeah. So in India, the market is abundant, the users are there, and I mean, it's entirely a new business.
Okay.
And there are, I mean, our future endeavors are plenty, but we've just kept ourselves to this web base, and this would be on for the next 1 year. And hello?
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Yes, and based on the data we collect throughout the year, based on the surveys we make, we will publish a paper so that more and more customers get to know that they have a problem, that they should optimize
No,
their.
you
And
publish a paper. You start blogging. These are the kinds of things today. There are much faster ways of getting it known in the audience, in the target audience that you're trying to get to. You start publishing, directly publishing to the universe, and start developing a customer acquisition strategy around that. Now, we will talk about some of that in a little bit after I'm done with your presentations. I want to make one comment before we move on from your presentation. You see, you have this slide that we have on the screen right now about total available market. Your market is not this $75 billion market. A $75 billion market is the entire logistics market.
yes, yes.
You're going to take a very small percentage of this market. So you have to much more accurately and much more tightly define what really is your total available market. That is one of the things that all of you, and when I was flipping through your slides before we started this session, I looked through several of your presentations, and this is an issue that all of you need to be aware of, that defining your market in a very granular way is part of how you build these businesses and how you interact with, investors, partners, and so forth, because defining market sizing is something that you have to learn to do in a very precise way.
Okay.
Okay? But otherwise, I like your idea. I like the fact that you're starting to engage with customers. Your questions about pricing model is going to get determined primarily by talking to your customers of
Yes,
what pricing are they willing to tolerate.
Yes, we started
And as far as market strategies, customer acquisition strategy is concerned, there's a plethora of customer acquisition strategies you can follow. One of the primary ones is going to be a combination of direct marketing, telemarketing, telesales, and email marketing.
Okay.
And there, each of those have mechanics and various different details of how to do that right. So we can, when I talk about how you can use our program, I'll talk to you a little bit about all of that. And you were asking, what is the opportunity for expansion of the idea for logistics companies in developed countries? The answer to this question is you need to do some competitive analysis, because while the market in India may be wide open, the market in the US or Europe may not be wide open. It probably is not wide open, because these kinds of technologies have been around in the Western world. So
yes, we've done that, and we've seen that they're charging a lot more than what we can charge the Indian customers.
yes.
So I would like to ask, Why? The service is almost similar. I mean, I won't say which ones is greater, but if the entire discussion about the service is same, why do they charge more than how much we can charge our Indian customers?
They charge because they can charge. Because the market
it's
tolerates higher prices.
About 10 times more than India.
Right, and that is actually your opportunity, because once you get this technology working and you have customers, let's say you validate this and you go to market with the Indian customers and you build up a business, you can actually go into the US market and compete with the existing players and drop the price significantly. You can actually charge a tenth of the price and be able to penetrate that market. So that's a very exciting opportunity.
Okay, but my question is that how did they determine this amount that they are going to charge their local customers, that we can't charge our local customers?
They talked to their customers and figured out what the customers are willing to tolerate. So there is this whole notion of ROI calculation. If you insert a certain piece of technology into a workflow, a business workflow, what kind of return on investment does that deliver? That's what determines pricing.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to move on to the next presenter. I like what you're doing, and good luck. I hope you continue to develop it.
Yes, thank you.
And folks in the room, give him a round of applause. And we're going to move on to Gaurav next.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're very welcome. And while they're getting set up, they're switching presenters. What does the public chat, what does the audience online think about what's going on, what we are looking at, the two businesses that we've seen so far from IIT Kharagpur students? Yes, diverse yet very interesting. I agree. I think that's a very apt description of what we are seeing here. Is Gaurav ready?
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am.
All right.
I'm Gaurav Dhake. I'm the founder and director of buyhatk.com. It's a unique blending of
Gaurav, before you go on, can you adjust your video so that you move slightly to your right? Can you move yeah, perfect. Yeah. Go on.
So buyhatk.com is a unique blending of a penny auction site and a meta search engine. The penny auction site follows a variable bid price that starts from 1 paisa for the first bid and moves on to n paisa for nth bid. Meaning there would be a product catalog, a product would be displayed, and for the product displayed there would be an auction time, and for the auction time the timer would start from can be between 20 seconds to 2 minutes. And the price would start from rupees 0.00,
okay.
And any user that is coming to the site will have to buy a credit package, and then with the credit package he would be able to bid. So when the first person bids on the site, the counter moves on from 0.00 to 0.01. So 0.01 credits have been deducted from his account, and for rupees 100 we would be charging about 20. We would be giving him 20 credits.
Okay.
So, like for the first bid, he would be essentially giving us 5 paisa. The second bid, it would be 10 paisa, and for the next bid, it would be 5 yen. So, revenue from a closed auction that closes at suppose rupees 5.00 is n into n plus 1 by 2 divided by 100 into 5. That would be the net revenue generated on this.
What is the percentage of revenue from the final sale price?
Suppose if 2,000 bids get placed on a product and the counter reaches 20.00, we would be essentially getting about 1 lakh rupees from that.
Based on
that
what?
That would be n into n plus 1 by 2 divided by 100, because we are charging 1 paisa for the first bid, 2 paisa for the 0.02 credits for the second bid, and that way.
Not sure if that's going to work. I'm not. That is, there in the auction market, there's a pretty established auction market out there, right? You all know about eBay and variety of other auction sites.
It's penny auction. It's the other way. It's penny auction, something similar to Supu that we had in US.
And that's the pricing model they're using for that?
Yeah. Like with it, we can advertise it using saying that we can offer 99% discounts on the products that you would be bidding on.
Okay. All right. Tell me more about what kind of businesses, and this ties into your customer segmentation. So talk about your customer segmentation and give me a sense of what kind of products do you expect you're going to go for?
The total regular internet users in India is about 3.3 crores. Out of that, target segment lies between 18 to 35. Okay, and that includes housewives familiar with internet shopping. The second would be IT professionals and call center people having continuous access to the internet, and college students with internet access, and shop owners that are having internet access. So that would comprise of about 2.7 crores, and out of that, 70% of 2.7 opt for internet banking. They purchase things online.
And is your assumption that this is going to be a C2C business?
No.
A consumer business?
What?
Is this a consumer-to-consumer business?
Yeah, it's a consumer-to-consumer.
Because that is a question, this consumer-to-consumer assumption for the Indian market, there is a question mark against it, and I'll tell you why. The consumer-to-consumer market depends on a very reliable shipping infrastructure.
Okay. So we would be tying up with Flipkart. Flipkart is a company in India that is similar to Amazon in the US, and that is same work. So, and that has a very good logistics module, and it ships products within 7 days of time. So our site would basically be an interface for bidding. A product catalog would be displayed and people would be bidding on it.
But if you're doing a C2C business, is Flipkart's fulfillment service capable of handling C2C, or is it a B2C fulfillment service?
It's a B2C.
That's the problem, right? Because the moment you want to do it as a C2C business, the logistics needs of a C2C business is very different from the logistics needs of a B2C business. So my recommendation, listening to you, is that maybe the best way for you to bring this to market is making it a B2C business. You can do penny auctions on B2C, but don't do C2C because you're going to get into trouble with the shipping and logistics infrastructure. Flipkart will not be able to handle C2C that easily.
Okay. And
if you look at the markets like Latin America, for instance, there is a great case study. Flipkart itself is a good case study. It's a very good case study, a much larger success story out of Latin America called Mercado Libre. They went through this same evolution. They wanted to do this C2C thing, but the way they got traction and developed the e-commerce market in Latin America was with the B2C.
The case study is of?
Mercado Libre.
Okay.
Mercado Libre is Latin America's largest e-commerce company.
Okay.
Okay, it's over $300 million at this point.
So,
okay. So my primary, so far based on what I've heard, my primary reaction is you need to do B2C, not C2C. And the second thing is, if you want to do B2C, I would choose one of these three segments and align a B2C business accordingly. You could start this as a B2C penny auction business for housewives, which means that you work with a merchandising strategy and a set of businesses that are selling products to housewives.
Okay. Yeah. That would specifically target the user segment in that range.
That would make it a lot easier for you to build an initial business.
Apart from this, we have a meta search engine that would be a one-stop destination where if you search for a product, that product would get searched on various online portals that are available, and it would display the prices they are offering. So user can get where he can buy the product at the cheapest cost.
Okay.
The search query
fine,
would be
essential. It's fine, but it's a nice to have. It's not a must have for what you're trying to do.
We would be driving the traffic from this to our penny auction site, because basically what we are displaying in it is different service providers and their cost for the product, and apart from that, we will be displaying another tab in which our website's data would be displayed, and comparing normal websites with a penny auction. A penny auction website always offers a greater discount, so user can see the difference and buy from there.
Okay.
And
all right,
also,
let's go to your. I think your in general the ideas are fine. Obviously, in the customer acquisition strategy, the moment you narrow down your customer base, your customer acquisition strategy is going to need to align with that. Let's say you're doing the internet savvy housewife segment as your market entry point. You're going to have to align a customer acquisition strategy that fits with that. The campus ambassador program is not going to work if your target audience is housewives.
Yeah, that's what one of my question was. How can I target the IT segment and the housewife segment? What all strategies can I use? The college segment would be targeted by the CA program, but for housewives and IT people,
there are varieties.
How can I penetrate into that market?
One of the ways is to do guerrilla PR. You know, there are hundreds and thousands of blogs that have specific segments penetration. You could run guerrilla PR campaigns through those blogs. You can establish contact with those blogs and get written up about them. Guerrilla PR is one of the most efficient ways of getting your name out there. But I sincerely believe that if you want to go to the B2C strategy, I would not go to all three of those segments at once. I'd pick one and do one strategy.
Okay, and apart from that, I had another question that targeted on how, like in India, it's difficult for a site entering into the e-commerce domain to develop trust in the initial phase. And people are skeptical about giving the online credit card details or debit card details when they are surfing the site. So how can credibility be established, and is there any alternate way in which we could be selling our credit packages to build the trust?
You may, if you do this business as a B2C business, you can establish return policies and stuff like that.
I can establish?
You can establish return policies.
Return policy, yeah. But
right?
those are like, okay, fine.
You have to develop you have to develop a merchandising strategy that and a return policy, potential guarantees of delivery and stuff like that. Have you read the Flipkart case study on my site, on my blog?
No.
You should read that Flipkart case study. I've actually in detail discussed all of these subjects with Sachin Bansal. You should immediately take a look at that. All of you in the room who are working on e-commerce businesses in India, you should immediately go look up a very extensive case study on Flipkart that we have on the blog.
Okay.
Okay?
And I had one last question. Like we are opting for investment, and the we are proposing him an investment model. What all investment models can we use at this point of time? The site has not been launched. It would be live on in the first week of Feb.
What kind of investors do you have offers from?
Huh?
What kind of investors do you have offers from?
The investor is an acquaintance. He is not specifically an angel investor. He is an acquaintance who is willing to fund this.
So this is not a great time to take investments.
Okay. So what
in
time?
general, we prefer, and this is a very long conversation. I'm going to have to move to the next presenter, but this is a long conversation about, in general, investment philosophy. Why don't you hang on? I will talk about this a bit towards the end of the session after I finish the presentations.
Yes.
And I will talk a little bit about investor strategy. In general, I think if you have to take money at this point, you're probably better off structuring it as convertible debt, although I think there's some issues about convertible debt in India. I'm not sure if you can do convertible debt, so your option may be very limited. You may have to do equity financing, and this is not a good time to do equity financing. This stage of the business is not good for equity financing.
Yeah, we'll have to shell off a greater stake at this point of time.
Very much so. Okay.
So
let's talk about that a little bit later. Let me finish talking with the other two entrepreneurs, and then we'll come back to some of your questions here.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, and let's give Gaurav a hand. An audience in the chat, what do you think of Gaurav's presentation while we have Parth Sarathi and Udayan Pandey setting up their presentations? Here we see the audience.
Have any questions you can ask? So, how do you
Let's finish the presentations, the two other presentations, and then we're going to do open Q&A a bit also. Who's going to be doing the next presentation? Is it Parth Sarathi or Udayan? Both of you?
Yeah, we both will proceed, but I'll start the presentation.
Okay.
Good morning, ma'am. Nidhin Pandey, and he's Parth Sarathi, and the directors of 111th Education Solution Limited. And by start of presentation, I think the biggest thing in our is the market in which we are approaching. Because today in India, the education market is really huge. When we see the competitors around in the education field, it's been really huge. If I see the figures around, the targeted figure from secondary and senior secondary to the tutoring section, it makes around somewhere 925 billion market. So our biggest doubt is how to penetrate in this market. Like the competitors over here, I'll come to you later about that, how the competitors are penetrating. But how do we start? Because we are still in college, and we cannot move forward to different cities frequently. So how do we move from here?
Which of these markets are you trying to get into? Of this chart that you have on the screen, you show different segments of the education market. Which one are you personally interested in? Are you guys? Oops. Looks like we have another audio failure here. While they get back on, folks, in the public chat, please feel free to comment on what we have seen so far, the three businesses we have seen so far. Rudy, of course, knows MercadoLibre.com very well, right, Rudy? Mercado Libre is headquartered in Buenos Aires, and it's penetrated heavily into Latin America. It's over a $300 million company in 2011. Very, very successful. I actually consulted with Mercado Libre a few years ago. I went down to Buenos Aires to do a strategic planning process for Mercado Libre. So I know the company very well for a long time.
Hello, ma'am. Can you hear us?
Yes. So you're back.
Yeah,
Go ahead. I was asking of these different segments that you have on your screen right now, which segment are you particularly interested in penetrating?
Ma'am, we are interested in the secondary plus senior secondary, test preparatory, and the tutoring.
That's a lot, and each of those markets have different dynamics.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
So, but initially we will start with the senior secondary.
Senior secondary. So that's 11th and 12th, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And ma'am, presently Indian education sector currently offer around 1800 billion market, and with a growth rate of 16%.
So the present scenario of India, how it's going on. So
and the e-learning market is currently estimated to 967 million and is projected to grow up to 10 billion. Yeah.
That's fine, but again, I have the same comment for you that I did earlier on when one of you were presenting the logistics market. These are top-down numbers. These are very, high-level top-down numbers. You've got to, based on what business you're going to be building, we're going to have to come up with a bottom-up analysis of your market size. And that's really what matters in building a business, not the top-down number. Forget these top-down numbers. I know the education market in India is very large. All your friends in the room know, and I think everyone in the chat knows that Indian education sector is a big opportunity right now. Let's take that as a given and tell us more in a more granular way, specifically what value are you planning to provide to this market?
Okay. When we talk about the value of our product, the thing is when we compare our product with the competitors' product, when we see that what our competitors are doing in the market, I'll give you some statistics in which it will show that how we are different. Like if I tell you the biggest competitor of ours is Educom Solutions, which is working in the market, which has taken a huge part in the education sector, and when we are different from them is the cost of our product is huge.
Hold on. You have to explain what Educom Solution does. I know what Educom Solution does, but you need to explain for the other people in the who are listening to your presentation, what does Educom Solution do?
Yeah, Educom Solution, it provides the education services offline as well as online to the people. And what our product is doing, we are providing presently the online education services. We are providing the online study materials. We are providing online live interaction between the mentors, the students, the teachers, online interaction between the different schools. It's basically a social networking website which is working between the schools, the colleges, and the students and the other mentors which are being incubated by us. So that's why we are different from Educom. Educom has not yet entered in such field, and we are entering in this field, and we are just trying that our product doesn't, the price of our product doesn't go so high that we cannot exist in this market. So our price of this product we have kept it too low in the starting.
So would it be fair to say that you're trying to build a social network for the post-secondary market for India?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, the important thing is we are bringing all the stakeholders in the field of education together, as in the parents, the teachers, students, everyone, even the mentors. And the thing is, we will have a sharing platform which will ultimately turn up into an online central library, which will be like the student of a particular school wants to share something within the school. That is the intra-school sharing can be done of the material simultaneously with the teacher help and teacher concerned help. Then the other school can also do it within it. Now we will collaborate both the schools together, and there will be a sharing limit of each school so that they can share it together, and this will turn up into a kind of a library. Okay.
Now what is the business model for this?
Yeah, ma'am.
What is the business model?
Ma'am, you can say as if we talk about this presentation, like I think this thing is not.
I think it's not working in the slideshow format, so it's been a little bit difficult to explain our product because the presentation coming on our screen is not in the slideshow format. So that would have been.
Explain by talking about what you're doing. You have to learn to explain what you're doing.
Okay, ma'am. Exactly what we are doing is as Parth explained, we are connecting the two schools, the mentors.
I got what you're trying to do. I think the audience gets what you're trying to do. The question I specifically asked you is, what is your business model? How do you propose to monetize this business?
Yeah.
This social network, how do you propose to monetize it?
Okay, when we talk about sharing, schools are being given a minimum limit that they have to share this much. After this, there's been a price which is being coded by us, which we'll be charging them if they are looking into other sharing platforms. So that's how we are charging them. We are charging students for using our product. Not in the starting. We are giving them we are giving them a free tutorials. After that, we are charging them. So that's how, and our charging is very less. And we are still and we are also collaborating with the schools so that we get a collected number of students from 11, 12, which will be around. If I collect all the 11, 12 students, we get around 1,000 students from a big school. So if we just collaborate with the school, we charge them by using our product. Like if you are using the online test from us, if you are using the online library, so you pay through your school. You don't pay through our website. So that's how we charge from a particular school.
So let me summarize what you're trying to say here. You want to charge the school, and the school charges the students a membership fee.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's right?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is for the thing which we are telling about the mentorship and the student mentorship program. The sharing program is totally different. There are two platforms in our product. One is the sharing platform, which is all the students, schools, and the mentors, the individual mentors whom we will be approaching, will be participating. And the other is the mentorship program, which will be running out like a social networking website. Like there will be two students who can discuss about their academic life, who can discuss about their schools, and there'll be teachers. There'll be teachers of the particular school. There'll be mentors from whom they can take time. They can take the particular appointment from them, and they can speak to them. So this is another platform which will be going. We won't be charging them for this, but we'll be charging them for using our product, using our online library. Like if I have a very big platform of suppose say mathematics, and if the student is using it, so after a particular point of time, we make it so qualitative that the students we can charge them, and affordably we can charge them.
You have a whole bunch of competitors in this sector.
Sorry,
yeah.
You have a whole bunch of competitors in the sector.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Ma'am, I would like to add one point. As in the uniqueness of this library would be, if take as an example, if a student of class 11 or 12 want to search anything, it always starts with Google, and a lot of data comes. Okay, now we by starting this our kind of online library, this is developed by the student by sharing the things. Okay, so this will be a very sorted one of the Google, if you can say. I will try to rate it. If something is being searched on Google by a student, a lot of things come, and now he has to look up on it. Which is the important data about which is the required one. Now here the thing is, the students have already shared the thing, and he can get a he can directly end up to a thing which is useful to him.
Mm-hmm. Well, part of it is you're going to have to, maybe one way to do this is, to differentiate is create very well categorized sections for different subjects.
Yes, we make sure that the quality of the product is not being harmed. That will be assured.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Listen to me. In the market that you're trying to go after, this post-secondary market, or what do you call it? The 11th, 12th market anyway. As you know, it's a highly test preparation oriented market, and especially in India, it's a highly test preparation for the sciences and kind of market, right? It's math and sciences essentially. That's where the real activity is. It's not like people are spending huge amounts of money trying to become great in literature. They're trying to become great in the sciences. That's the Indian consumer's dynamic. That's what they pay for. So if you really focus on making this a great science and technology social network for the post-secondary, that may be one way to differentiate it.
And one more thing, ma'am, we will try to focus on the B-tier city and the C-tier city.
we will not start with the metros, because the main problem which is faced by the student is the students who are staying in the beta and the C tier, not the metros one.
That's a good idea. I like that idea actually. The thing that you have to be careful about is whether the schools can afford to pay for your solution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, so let's go to your questions. Where and you have betas going on in Jabalpur, Shingrao.
Yeah, we have done around 9 knowledge camp. After which we got the feedback, and with the teachers, students, parents, and with the help of them, we finally end up to this thing, and we thought that we should start with beta and the CETA cities.
Yeah, I like that idea. Now, are these schools that you're working with, are they willing to pay?
Yeah, ma'am, they are very much interested.
Okay, good, very good.
I mean, it's basically after getting the feedback of this school, we came out with this B plan. So it was like we started with a normal workshop thing, knowing the market, how the students are thinking, how the parents are thinking, how the teachers are thinking. And after getting their feedback, after that we made up to shape our product in that direction.
That's very good, excellent. Now, what issues are you facing with your technical team?
Our very first issue is our technical team is a little bit weak as much as we think. So, what could be a solution? How do we solve it?
Why is your technical team weak? Your IIT students. Why is your technical team weak?
Well, none of them are from computer science department, ma'am.
And ma'am, the website what we are making, it's such a complicated website that if we approach professor also, he says that no, we are not able to do this. You just go to a professional, just go make it from them, and we go to them. They are charging like huge bucks in this context. It's like a complicated website for them.
There's a company in 1 million by 1 million that actually has social media platforms. They've kind of developed on top of the BuddyPress software a pretty comprehensive private social network technology. I don't know if that makes. Let me think about that. I don't want to answer that off the cuff, but you do need a co-founder who can architect this technology. If you can't architect this technology, this is not going to fly. If your whole existence depends on a viable, scalable social network, you need a co-founder from computer science or from somewhere else in industry, from your alumni network or somewhere, who knows how to architect the site.
The issue is actually we are paying huge money for non-existence of any the technical member in our team. Like today, if I'm approaching the market to build up my website, they say that the website is so complicated, we are charging you this much amount. So
no, you can't do that. You cannot. This is something that you're going to need somebody to work with you as a co-founder who knows what he's doing or she's doing in terms of architecture and managing the team. This is building a full-scale social network is not a joke.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Ma'am, come down to the second question. Ma'am, is it advisable to let an incubator partner with us to strengthen our management team?
Incubators don't strengthen your management team. Incubators give you advice.
Yeah. So,
incubators don't manage your company.
Yeah, ma'am, the thing is, would it be helpful?
Depends on what incubator. There's incubators and then there's incubators.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, hold on. We'll talk about our incubation facilities after I'm done with the last presenter. So hang on, hold that question for a while. We'll tackle that in the Q&A at the end. All right. Thank you, guys. Please give them a hand. Very interesting proposition. There's somebody in the room who is a computer science student who wants to join their team as a co-founder. You guys should talk.
Yes, ma'am, definitely will do it.
All right. Nishant, you're next. And while you're setting up, let's look at what's happening in the public chat here. Sudhi is offering you advice on social networking platforms. Sudhi is a 1 million by 1 million premium member who's just joined the program recently.
Good evening, ma'am. Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, good evening here actually, but you guys are fresh and full of energy.
Good morning here.
Tell us what you're doing with traffic control and vehicle security systems.
Okay. Can I start, ma'am?
Yep.
Can I start?
Yep.
Okay. So basically what we're planning to do with this is it's basically a tracker and reader system that we plan to install in a city.
Okay.
So basically we want to track cars, vehicles to prevent them, to protect them both from security theft and use those tags and the data we collect from the readers to manage traffic. Basically what it should be, basically it's still in the proof of concept stage. We haven't done the prototyping yet, but what the idea is basically is that each car will have a tag, an RFID tag, radio frequency identification tag, that can be read without a line of sight. It is similar to a barcode, but it can be read without line of sight. So that way, if there is a toll booth or there is a traffic signal from that area, a car passes, it gets read. There can be information stored on the tag that can be read by the readers. Readers can be installed over the city, and using this tag and reader system, each car that passes through a place can be read. Its time and which car passes and at what time it passed can be identified by the system. So basically, we're planning to do this at a very large scale in a city. So the first problem comes up there. How do you manage such a large infrastructure project when you're a startup?
It is not advisable.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because it involves a large investment. So there are some options, like we can actually pitch to maybe the government who can help us with this. But will that really make it a startup?
Well, what you could do is take it as a service project from some part of the city, whether it's government or even potentially some kind of a private application that takes advantage of RFID technology that can start generating revenues for you, services revenues. Trying to do this as a product company is going to be very difficult, because the capital needs and the infrastructure needs and the decision-making cycle of the people that you have to deal with. When you're going to deal with toll booths, well, that is going to be a decision cycle that is going to, in India, it's going to take 2 years to get to any decision. Nothing will happen. No money will come into your bank account, and for 2 years, how are you going to survive?
Yeah, that was the problem I'm facing. So basically, I searched for other areas, like the slide that is on the screen right now. There are more than 1 people who benefit from this. The tag is very cheap actually, because in a large, the RFID tag manufacturing facilities manufacture a large amount of, like in millions they produce.
Yeah. RFID tags are very cheap. I think they're on your screen here. What I see actually as possibilities, but you have to figure out where the data is going and how is the data being. If you, let's say, car insurance companies do have an interest in working with you, but the question is, where is the data being read? Let's say you put the car insurance company or the car owners put in the tags in the car. Where is the data? What data is being collected? And you kind of have to collect the data or get the data to come to a central location without without readers being installed everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you have a requirement that readers need to be present at toll booths, that is not a complete no-go situation.
Yeah. We tried a bit like basically the cost of the entire reader. Let's come to just for a second. I'll come to the technical part. What we tried to do was in the reader's the cost is basically from the battery. A lot of cost is from the battery. So what we tried to do was replace that battery with the already existing power lines in the city. So we're trying to bring down that cost, and also whenever there is a bridge made,
that's not your gating item. The gating item is who installs the readers.
Oh, yeah. Like we were planning that one option can be we can modify the design. We can modify that. We can create the technology, but we can.
As a business or as an entity, where do you foresee, from a use case point of view, tell me where you expect the readers to be showing up?
I think we can make a prototype. We can make the technology, but we'll license it to somebody else, so that who already has a manufacturing agency.
That's not the point. The question I'm asking is a business question, is a go-to-market question. If you look at the usage model of this, where are the readers going to be in the city? To be able to track if a car is being stolen and where is the car, where does the reader need to be?
The reader needs to be at traffic junctions, basically, instead of the traffic lights.
So that means the city has to adopt an infrastructure of these readers.
Yes. Yes.
This is not viable. Absolutely not viable. I would say, Nishant, do something else.
Okay.
This is going to eat up valuable years of your youth, and you'll develop gray hair too soon in life, and it's absolutely not worth it.
Understand.
It's not that you cannot develop the technology. I think you can develop the technology, but it's from a business point of view, this is not doable. And in the way India operates, I don't think this is going to be doable.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's give Nishant a hand, because he has good understanding of technology. And by the way, one of the things I always advise young entrepreneurs is to decide which project are you going to put valuable years of your life on. You can go on 3, 4, 5 years of your life on a bad idea, and that's a total wastage. It's much better to very quickly decide whether this is a project that has legs and can you build a real business out of it, and abandon that idea. And since you're entrepreneurial and you're technical, you will come up with some other idea which is going to have much better viability, and that's where you're going to spend these invaluable years of your life, not something that is going to be like pulling hair every day of your life for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, ma'am. I'll keep that in mind.
You're welcome. Okay, folks, we're going to talk a little bit about what kind of services that we provide in the 1 million by 1 million program. What is the vision of the program, and how are we working with entrepreneurs? So Anandita or somebody from the IIT Kharagpur eCell, can you mute your line?
Yes, ma'am.
Or maybe cut your video camera so that we don't have empty chairs, or you sit there, something or the other. Okay, so hopefully, guys, you can see everybody both on the public chat as well as in the conference room. You can see the slides and you can see the video. That's my video feed right now, because nobody else is speaking, so I don't want a dark video feed there. First thing I'm going to say before I kick off any of the 1 million by 1 million resources discussion is that our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million in annual revenue by 2020. And for that, we need serious entrepreneurs. And I'm assuming that since you guys at a very young age are all excited and enthusiastic about entrepreneurship, you have what it takes, so to speak, in becoming successful entrepreneurs. And I'll tell you, entrepreneurship is very hard. It takes a lot of tolerance for risk and uncertainty. It takes tremendous work ethic, very long hours, not just intellectual horsepower, but just conviction, resilience, a lot of confidence, self-confidence to be able to withstand the naysayers who are most certainly going to come your way. And that is why we want serious entrepreneurs who have what I call the mettle to put in what it takes to become successful over the years of your life, of your entrepreneurial journey. That's something where we are looking, in 1 million by 1 million, we're looking for serious entrepreneurs. Now, the 1 million by 1 million website is 1m1m.sramanamitra.com, and you're very welcome to look at that site. I will walk you through the various resources that we bring to the table that you can start utilizing as you navigate your way through your entrepreneurial journey. The first is my blog. You know, as I was talking about various case studies today, I talked about the Flipkart case study. Since you guys presented a bunch of e-commerce businesses, we have a very, very strong case study on Flipkart. We have a very strong case study on Mercado Libre, which is Latin America's e-commerce market leader, which is a $300 million plus company. All these and many more, there are over 500 case studies on my blog, and you are completely free to access any of these case studies and learn from them. That is why they're there. In addition, if you're looking for something more synthesized, we have a 4-volume Entrepreneur Journeys book series, and these are basically case studies plus synthesis of methodology of the lean, capital efficient startup methodology that we practice and preach in the 1 Million by 1 Million program. The books are, the first volume of Entrepreneur Journeys is, in India, it's called How to Stop Looking for a Job and Develop a Platform for Your Life's Work. It's a mouthful. In the US, it's just Entrepreneur Journeys Volume 1. That was the introductory volume. It has a dozen case studies of extremely detailed mapping of strategies of successful entrepreneurs. The second volume is Bootstrapping, Weapon of Mass Reconstruction, and in India, the book is marketed by Hachette as Bootstrapping, Doing More for Less. The third volume is Positioning, How to Test, Validate, and Bring Your Idea to Market, and the fourth volume is Innovation, Need of the Hour. All the books are available from Amazon and Kindle ebooks internationally, and in India, Flipkart you can get all the books from Flipkart. So since all of you are e-commerce savvy entrepreneurs, you can access everything from Flipkart. The blog is at sramanamitra.com. In addition, every Thursday, generally, we do these free online strategy roundtables. We've done over 100 roundtables. This is our 111th roundtable. Over 8,000 people have attended these roundtables, and I have personally coached over 500 entrepreneurs. So we have a lot of experience of doing this, and you'll see that I will write a recap column. The recordings are going to be available. You can share that with whoever you want to share with, and we also will have a recap column that will talk about what we have seen in today's roundtable, the presentations that we have seen, that is extensively syndicated. Then we have the premium program. The 1 Million by 1 Million premium program is a $1,000 annual membership fee, and it's a completely virtual program. In that sense, it's a virtual incubator, even though we do collaborate with a lot of physical incubators in different parts of the world, including some in India. We offer extensive methodology guidance, and we offer a curriculum, which is a combination of video lectures and case studies. We do a lot of business development work, basically connecting the dots, introducing you to customers, channel partners, various kinds of people who might be able to add value to your business. What you saw today in the roundtable is a flavor of the kind of strategy consulting. You can call it strategy consulting, you can call it mentoring. I prefer to call it strategy consulting because that puts you and me on the same platform. You're an entrepreneur, you're building a business, and I can provide you with some consulting. It doesn't have any power structure attached to it. That's what I like about the term consulting. And you probably know that I had a long background of almost 10 years. After doing 3 startups all through the 90s, I did almost 10 years of strategy consulting all up and down the value chain of the technology industry, from very small companies to very large companies. So I have a lot of experience with strategy and management. And we also help with financing. When appropriate, we help you with financing. Now, I promised to tell you a little bit about our philosophy on financing. And that is something that you have to keep in mind. We strongly recommend that you bootstrap as much of your business as possible, because typically investors do not fund something that is not validated, especially since all of you are first-time entrepreneurs. At least most of you who are in the conference room at IIT Kharagpur are largely first-time entrepreneurs. Maybe some of the ones in the chat, public chat, are not first-time entrepreneurs, but a lot of you are first-time entrepreneurs. The likelihood of your getting financing on a concept is very low. There was a time in the 90s when we were going through this dot-com bubble at the very early days of the internet. That's when there was PowerPoint financing, this concept of PowerPoint financing. That's all gone. That era is gone. It will never come back. So please do not assume that you can get funding investment for a concept. Now, another place I'm going to point you to on the 1M1M website is our self-assessment. So if you go on the right panel, you'll see a button called 1M1M self-assessment. I encourage all of you to put your ideas and your businesses through the self-assessment so you can calibrate where you are. And if you join the premium program, you will have curriculum modules attached to the self-assessment where you can learn and fill the gaps that you have in your business. All that is at the 1m1m.sramanamitra.com site. Other places where I would point you to is on the top right corner on the black bar, you see this premium program and FAQ. These are two places where you'll find a lot of information about what we do and how we help you in 1 million by 1 million premium. So what to expect from the premium program and the FAQ are two places which where you must go and get familiar with that. Our methodology is lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startups. If you come up with a business idea, especially at this stage of the game, especially at this stage of your evolution, you're very young entrepreneurs, if you have a very capital intensive idea, the likelihood of you're being able to raise capital, significant amounts of capital, is very low. So the chances of your succeeding is low. So this lean, capital efficient, bootstrap startup methodology is the right methodology for you, and that's pretty much what we practice and we preach. Like you, we are also 1 million by 1 million is also an early stage startup, and we practice exactly the same methodology that we teach in the program. So a bit more about how we teach what we teach. We have a core curriculum and an elective set of modules. In the core curriculum, you have 7 modules. 1 is bootstrapping, 2 is positioning, 3 is market sizing. I talked to you a bit today about market sizing. Many of you are presenting $75 billion market opportunities in logistics. Well, that includes trucks, that includes ships, that includes containers, that includes railway containers, all sorts of things. So a very small percentage of that actually applies to your particular business. And you need to get down to what applies to your particular business, and that really is your total available market, TAM. And TAM is a vital statistic of business. You have to assess what is your TAM. In addition, we have other core curriculum modules that include customer validation. We have extensive methodology guidance on customer validation, and it's a very important part of what you need to learn. Financing, of course. Customer acquisition. Many of you are trying to figure out what are the best customer acquisition strategies. We have a comprehensive set of modules on customer acquisition. And finally, team building. We make a difference. We show you how to do team building if you're a venture-funded startup versus team building when you're a bootstrap startup, and the strategies are quite different between execution team and executive team. There's big difference on what strategies you need to follow. Now, on the elective side, what we do is we provide you with elective modules that align with the trends of our industry. So Web 3.0 and e-commerce is a very big trend around the world right now because we're going to have 5 billion people on the internet by 2020. So web businesses is going to continue to be a big segment. Cloud computing and business solutions, we see a lot of software as a service type of businesses. Outsourcing and consulting continues to be a big trend. Some of the areas that are very interesting outsourcing trends are trends like rural BPO or small town BPO, tier 2, tier 3 city outsourcing deals, outsourcing companies where you would start to see completely different cost structures, and those are very interesting, attractive opportunities. Some of you talked today about the opportunities in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and I'm very, very excited about some of those opportunities in India. Mobile and social apps continue to be very, very aggressive entrepreneurship areas. Healthcare, IT, online education or educational technology, and gaming. These are all interesting areas. And then I also have a whole module called Vision India 2020 in the elective modules. And that's based on my book called Vision India 2020. I'll talk about that in a moment, slightly later in the presentation. Now, I want to emphasize the method of how we teach what we teach. It's a completely case study based teaching methodology. We have video lectures where I synthesize what the case studies show in each of these topic areas that I just ran you through. And the case studies are basically based on my sitting down with hundreds of successful entrepreneurs and capturing their lessons from the trenches, their strategy guidance, what they are telling you. And these are entrepreneurs who've built hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, in some cases billions. So it's a very, very powerful set of entrepreneurs who are taking the time to share their knowledge and their experience with you. And I'm using video lectures to synthesize some of those lessons, but I strongly encourage you to use both the case studies and the video lectures, not one or the other. We do a lot of business development deals. You know, this is a coverage in Business Standard in India, actually, of a deal where we did with Persistent Systems, a Pune company, and some of our 1 million by 1 million entrepreneurs. We do a lot of media outreach. So this is a piece that I wrote on Read Write Web about one of our 1 million by 1 million companies, positioning them as a company plugging a gap in Google's enterprise solution. The company is called Orenscape. This is a note, this is a message that someone who pitched at one of these roundtables who was writing to me on my Facebook page, an entrepreneur from Chennai, saying that he had raised a whole bunch of angel money in 2008. And then by the time I met, or he came on to the 1 million by 1 million forum, because we are not that old, we just started our premium program last year, even though the free roundtables have been running longer. He said he has run out of all that money because he did a lot of wrong things in the wrong sequence. And he was saying that he wishes that he had access to 1 million by 1 million sooner in his life cycle as an entrepreneur, that he could have used some of these methodology guidance while he had resources available. We work with a lot of incubators, actually. Even though we are a virtual incubator, we work with a lot of physical incubators in different parts of the world, and this is an incubator in Malaysia. In fact, we are actually in discussion with your incubator at IIT Kharagpur. Professor Dhruvesh Biswas is in touch with us about working more closely with the IIT Kharagpur ecosystem and joining hands in some way. So that's pretty much what I have to say in terms of the 1 million by 1 million resources. The upcoming free roundtables, today you got a flavor of how to pitch and how to use these free roundtables. You're very welcome to use any of the upcoming roundtables. To any of you in the audience are welcome to come pitch at these roundtables and continue to use these resources. And finally, a few words about the Vision India 2020 book. Those of you who have very, serious interest in entrepreneurship, but you haven't quite yet found the idea that you want to work on, you're very welcome to look at the Vision India 2020 book. It is a book that contains $45 billion business ideas. And the way I wrote this book is as if it's a business fiction set in 2020. So we are sitting in 2020 looking back on building these fictional businesses, but the strategic details and the nuances of these businesses are mapped out in quite a bit of detail. And they span a variety of different sectors, not only technology, technology-enabled services, education, infrastructure, healthcare, entertainment, lifestyle businesses, e-commerce, all sorts of things. It's a futuristic retrospective, and I invite you, in fact, I strongly encourage you all to steal these business ideas, develop them, customize them to reflect your vision and build these businesses. And we have a whole module in 1 million by 1 million Premium to help you build these businesses and guide you through the process. So you're most welcome. Again, the book is available on Amazon, Kindle, and Flipkart, and you're very welcome to access it. I see a lot of questions coming up in the public chat. So I will start answering these questions, and meanwhile, those of you who are in the conference room, maybe you can call out your questions to your moderator, who can either, if I can hear the questions, if you have some sort of a microphone such that I can hear the questions, I will answer them. Otherwise, you can use the public chat to ask your questions. So while IIT Kharagpur conference room gets oriented for Q&A, I'm going to start taking some questions from the chat. Anurag Gudgutia asks, ma'am, are the sections you mentioned within self-assessment accessible to all? Yes, the self-assessment, the questions are all accessible to all. The actual modules where you have, if you don't know how to do market sizing, there is actually curriculum module to train you on how to do that. That's not accessible outside of the premium program. For that, you have to become a premium member. So IIT Kharagpur conference room, if you have fewer questions in your audience, you can even turn the video back on and you can start asking your questions as well.
Using the public chat, you can tell me and you can write it down. We'll tell you, okay? There's so many.
Do we have any questions? Or you can just come here, we have a microphone.
Ma'am, you said that you would be discussing the investment model that a business which is not yet launched or is just in the initial phase should be using to pitch to the angel investors.
Right. So as I started to tell you, in the Indian legal framework, I think they're not allowing convertible equity, convertible debt. So the best model for very early stage financing, very early stage angel financing is convertible debt. But you may want to check this with lawyers, but from what I understand, that convertible debts are not allowed in the Indian system right now. So basically, you have no choice but to do it as straight debt or as equity. Those are your choices.
So, and at what stage of the startup should we take investment if it is an e-commerce business?
You should get some of the validation done. So in your case, we went through the segmentation and we went through some of the strategic elements. You should start implementing some of that and get to some amount of validation before you take investments. I mean, if you look at the Flipkart case study, they went quite far before they took any investment. And that's a very good way of doing it. Anybody else? You can come up to the console that Anandita is sitting at and ask your questions at the microphone. And
okay, ma'am,
while the public chat can also ask questions.
Ma'am, the question is how to customize a B plan that is sellable.
How to customize a business plan that is what?
Sellable.
Sellable.
Yeah.
Sellable to whom?
To angel investors. He says that the students do not have money or proper investment to invest in their business. So how to customize the business plan in order to get the investment? Am I right?
So the likelihood of your getting investment is very much predicated upon your first getting customers. So you have to get to customer validation with bootstrapping, and there are a variety of different bootstrapping techniques we teach in 1 million by 1 million. So if you start, attending these roundtables and start hanging around the 1 million by 1 million program, studying the case studies and following the blog, you will learn some of those techniques. And if you join 1 million by 1 million premium, you can very rapidly ramp up on all those techniques. But you have to, as First-time student entrepreneurs, you have to learn bootstrapping. There is no going around that. And even if you look at the case study of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg founded Facebook as a student at Harvard, but the business had taken off quite a bit. He and his friends basically put in some personal money, savings, friends and family kind of money, and that's about all they did. But the real angel investment, the professional angel investors, the institutional investors came in much later. By the time they raised their first angel investment round, Facebook was able to raise that round of $500,000, and they gave up only 10% equity. In contrast, if you look at what Y Combinator does, for instance, they take 6% equity to give you $25,000 in funding. That's not a great deal for entrepreneurs most of the time.
I hope that answers your question. There is this group of students who plan to introduce a product in the market in the Tetra packs, which is available in the fresh form but seasonally. They have adequate presentation techniques to keep it safe. Okay, they have adequate preservation techniques to keep it safe for 6 months. They're asking how to develop credibility in the minds of the folks in the start.
So it's a food packaging technology, yes?
Yeah.
I haven't thought about it, so I need to think about it a little bit. We don't do a lot of food packaging technology kind of deals, but typically what you would need to get is some sort of a pilot customer. You need to get a pilot food producer who would adopt your technology and be willing to put that in the retail, put that with the supermarket. That pilot is going to be really important before you can raise any money at all.
Okay, we have another question. We are students of IIT Technical Institute. So should we focus on service-based models or product-based models?
This is not an either-or question. Oftentimes, one of the best ways to bootstrap a product company is by doing some amount of services in the sector, in the segment that you're trying to build a business in. So the beauty of services-based models is that you start revenues coming in, you have revenues coming in early on in the cycle, and that helps you pay the bills, keep yourselves, fed basically, and also finance the development of a product. This is something I can talk to you from my personal experience. I was, like you, I started very early. I was a student at MIT when I started my first company, and I started with a services business model and then bootstrapped the product company out of a services company and got venture financing from one of the largest venture firms in America called New Enterprise Associates, NEA, and they now have a pretty successful India arm as well. So this is, tried and true process. Entrepreneur after entrepreneur has been successful by following this bootstrapping using services model. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I guess it did. This guy wants to start his business in field of education, and he's asking how should he go about attracting the business to develop his project?
How attract whom to develop the project? You need to be a lot more concrete in your business idea. Where in education? What segment of education? What is the value proposition? There's a whole lot of questions that you need to answer before, to me that is a very vague question.
He wants to know how should he go about attracting investors to invest in his business.
I answered that question already. This is true for every sector. You have to get to customer validation before you can even think about attracting investors. I'm going to take, Anindita, just hold on for a second. Let me take a couple of questions from the public chat. Anurag is asking, from the side of Univec, what are the steps we need to take to get 1M1M as an incubator for us? You can sign up, you can go to the website and sign up to become a 1 million by 1 million premium company. Any one of you can do that. It is not an exclusive program. Anybody who wants to learn entrepreneurship, we accept everybody, and you can, it's going to take you 1 nanosecond to sign up to become a 1 million by 1 million incubating company. Rudy Godoy is asking, would be wise for funding the bootstrap of a product to use services revenue, given it doesn't put that business line on risk? You have to mitigate the risks and not invest all your profits into product development, but you have to kind of balance the exercise of how much you put into, how much of the services profits you put into product development. Anandita, over to you. Take a few more questions.
Do we have any more questions from the audience? I guess that's all the audience wants to ask.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Enjoyed interacting with you guys, and hopefully I'll see some of you in Calcutta in March.
Yes, ma'am. We hope to see you in Kharagpur rather than Calcutta. We want you here. We'll have a good time with you.
Okay. All right. Good luck with the rest of the summit.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, folks in the audience. Hope you enjoyed the session with IIT Kharagpur. Bye-bye, and we'll see you next week at the next roundtable.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.